All right, what you're seeing is what I've been talking about doing some realistic type training. Like I've always said, the square range is great, but in a realistic type situation, you're going to be engaging targets. If you're being like say your bug out location, and you want to be able to defend it and protect it, what you should do is do some of this type of training, even if it's not live fire, but learn places to defend it from, things like that, if that time arises. I mean, 99% of the time you're going to be sitting around just doing nothing but guarding, and that's great. That's what you'd rather have than have to engage target. But if there is somebody who wants something that's yours, come to you with unfriendly intentions, enemy combatants, whatever you want to call them, learn how to engage targets in those areas that you're going to be defending from. That's what I'm talking about, realistic training. Get out in the woods, out in the rocks, out wherever it's going to be, wherever you are at, whatever situation or location that you are at. Learn those areas and actually practice and get out and run some drills and things like that in those areas, and do it consistently. That way you're familiar with what your area is going to look like, and where you can be at, and places you can get, and places, different locations at your location to be able to defend from. Different areas, different things. That's why I'm always talking about get to know your property. Go out and set up some targets. Like if you're in a wooded area, go out and set some targets up at 100, 200 yard range. Camouflage them as well. Makes it more difficult to see. Set them up and then walk back down 100, 200 yards, 50, 100, 200 yards, and see if you can find those targets. So get uncomfortable in doing it, and because you're not always going to be in a perfect position physically or anything like that to be able to see those targets. You might have to hang over a rock or get down by a tree, and just things like that is going to make, for an uncomfortable situation, physically, where you have to be able to see those targets, because wherever you set them at, just leave them there, walk back. If they're coming at you that way, see if you can see them. You might have to, you're going to end up, if you can see them, they can see you. But if you know they're coming, and you can be ready for them. But look for them. It's going to be hard if they're camouflaged, because they're not going to be wearing brightly colored clothing and things like that. They are, and then what I mean. Okay. They're going to be dressed in camouflage too as well. They're going to try to be as stealthy as possible. So that's what I'm talking about. Realistic training. Get out and do it. Get uncomfortable. Do this like consistently. When you go out and train, pick a day, during the week or something that you do that 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month. Get used to, even if you just dry fire, you don't have to just look through the trees, look through and find your targets. Get into places where that you can maybe maneuver and get on your belly and crawl, and where you can get to those targets. If you can't see it behind a certain amount of trees or a tree or something, you might have to maneuver to get to see that target, because that's the way it's going to be. You will have natural obstacles in your way, which is cover for them, cover for you, but you want to see them first before they see you, and that's the whole idea of doing this. And getting used to fighting in that, and defending from those types of positions in those types of environments, because being out in the woods is not the same as a square range. So that's what I'm saying. Just get out and kind of practice that kind of thing and get used to it. And it's not going to be like, real life, of course, but it's still might give you an edge over somebody that hasn't been doing that. And there are places that you can go to learn that type of like fighting skills. S&S Training Solutions, the One Shepherd, where they do one-on-one, you know, force multiplier teams, things like that. Very cool stuff. That's very cool stuff. I would love to do that stuff myself, but that's, you know, this is something that you can do with between you and a couple of, you know, your group of your guys to be able to like work on something like this at your own location, because you want to know your own area. So very cool. I'd even suggest take a couple of guys to your location. Don't tell them what it is, but, you know, go down there and paintball, you know, airsoft, whatever. And you can learn to defend from your areas like that as well. So, and do it with live people without anybody really getting hurt. Good for practice, good for mental, you know, because you're going to train yourself. You're training your eyes to be able to see things in those areas that you're going to be at. Anyway, that's it. Something to think about and keep in mind, things like that. So keep it heavy.